Good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to another video. Tonight we're going to do the Q&A that I talked about and ask you guys what you would like to have for our 50K video. And I know it's been a little while, but life's been very crazy lately. It's been a little difficult for me to keep up with things, so I thought we would just do a simple hand movement and answer some questions, okay? First question here on the list is, do you have any pets? I do have 2 cats. I think I've mentioned a few. You'll probably notice some white fur on a lot of my black outfits because they are 2 white cats. And try as I may, I do struggle to keep their fur in check. So, and then is there any type of animal that you'd like to keep as a pet? I guess I do have some fish as well. I'm very into planted tanks, and I have a very heavily planted betta tank. And then a pet that I would like to keep is a jumping spider. I really like them, but I think feeding them would be a problem for me. Just trying to source food for them, so I want the pets that I have to be well cared for, and I would be nervous that I would struggle to find food in the winter time, so that's one that I have chosen to put off, maybe sometime in the future. Alright, next question. Do people usually comment in real life about your voice? And do you sing? The answer is yes. Sometimes they do comment. Most of the time it is when I'm answering the phones. My phone voice is very similar to my ASMR voice. Except for my ASMR voice is a little more controlled. But I have had several people tell me I have a very nice voice. I have also had a few trainees at my work fall asleep while I was training them. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it did happen. And then do I sing? Yes, I do sing, but I don't sing professionally or even in a group or anything, just to myself. So, but I do enjoy it quite a bit. The next one, would it be possible to include an audio track without background music, with or without, under 2 different language tracks? I don't know how to do that, if I'm honest. When it comes to editing my videos, I do very little editing of them because I'm not very good at it actually, but something I can certainly try to look into. But we'll see. I do like videos with music, even though they're not quite as popular. So, what is the inspiration behind my channel name? And is it a reference to media or pure randomness? So my channel name came from my World of Warcraft character name I used to have. I loved it, and I used it across many different characters and different realms and things. So I used to be a raid healer, and that character was a holy priest. So they were undead, and I really, really enjoyed playing that character. So no, Morika is not my real name, but I really love it. Alright. Darker aesthetic, but they wondered about my taste in music. I do really enjoy like a rock or heavy metal. Currently I'm into Spirit Box. I really enjoy her vocals a lot. She has beautiful cleans and some really nice growls. I am actually into Evanescence a lot. They have a new album coming out in June, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. I often get a lot of comments on my channel that I look like Amy Lee. And I chuckle when I see that, because I've had that comment about me since Evanescence first came into existence. When they first kind of got big in 2003, I think it was. I had so many people say, wow, you really look like her a lot. Because I did dress really similar, especially in that era in my life. And then there would be all of these fun little, which celebrity do you look like? And all those kind of fun little games. And I would get her every single time, so, which I don't mind. I find her very beautiful, so. Let's see. Is content creation my full-time job? No. Actually, this is really just a hobby for me. I don't really make a lot of money from this. My full-time job is a medical laboratory technician. I am the lead for our blood bank. And so I do a lot of handing out blood products and helping people in emergencies. So I really enjoy that. Of course, I wish I would have a little higher wage, but I think we can all feel that. But yeah, content creation is really something that I enjoy doing, but it's not my full-time job. So I work 40 hours a week, 5 days a week, and then I'll work 12-hour shifts on the weekends. So I'm pretty busy, but I still really like making videos. So this one says, an audio nerd, I'd love to know about your current, previous microphone setup, as well as any supporting gear. So I have Shure microphones, the KSM, I can't remember what they are. I bought them a long time ago now. I really like them. I don't think you usually see them a lot in ASMR videos, but I loved the sound quality. What had happened was I borrowed a set of these from someone else when I was sort of like, well, I'd like to make ASMR because I love it. It's very dear to me. And I wanted to see if I could give back to the community because ASMR really helps me out. And these were the ones that they had borrowed to me. They're a band that actually plays some professional gigs, and so they were pretty nice microphones, and up until that point I had been using the Blue Yeti, I think. So in my very, very early videos, those are Blue Yeti, and then I switched to these, and I love them. I also did get some Rode KT5s, I think, at some point. They're the really directional ones, but I actually still have those, but I don't use those. I pretty much exclusively use the two that are in this video. I just really love them. But at some point I would love to get that one microphone with like the ears. Someday I'll get it. And then I have some pretty like some box lights, and then I have a ring light that's kind of behind me a little bit. You can see it kind of like lights up the side. And then I have some really like ghetto-y looking floodlights that will do some color because my skin's very pale. So I try to get a little bit of red kind of in there to give me a little more life sometimes. But that's pretty much it. And then I have just some behind me is like a pole with some curtains, some black ones, and that's what I mostly use for my background. And I have some photography backgrounds that I'll sort of drape over the top occasionally, but that's it. Nothing fancy. I don't really have anything fancy, so Potion Witch, I am going into battle. What strong potions can you offer me? So I've gotten this comment a few times, and I have a feeling it's from something, but I don't quite know what it's from. So if that is you, or you know what it's from, I would love if you would respond to the comments, because I do read all the comments. I've struggled to answer a lot of comments lately because I'm very busy, but I do read them. So if that is you, please tell me what that's from, because I've seen it in other videos and I've seen it on my comments, and I really want to know what it's from. So that would be lovely. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see. Who are your favorite musical artists, bands? Okay, we already talked about that one. Your new compilation video reminded me of a question. How many Enchanted World books have you found? So I have actually made videos of all the ones that I've found. I had gotten a couple new ones last fall, and I made those ones kind of around Halloween, I think. And then I had tracked down a Christmas one that I really wanted to buy, but it was like $50. So it was a little bit too much for me. But I'm still hoping to find ones that are a little bit lower price range, so I have been keeping an eye on them. But they have remained relatively expensive, so I have not been able to source any more. So unfortunately, I think, if I'm remembering right, I think the total is somewhere between like 10 and 11. Don't quote me, but I think that's about it. Let's see, I'd like an evil queen anticipatory walking around combo. So I actually did this, but it was over on my Patreon. The evil queen in that video it was back when I cut my hair last year, and I really didn't like my haircut, if I'm super honest. So in that video, she's very upset because the viewer, you, had given me a terrible haircut and I didn't like it. And so I decided I was going to give you a terrible haircut. And so then I walk around you and I kind of have some snipping sounds and things like that behind the camera. And I just do a little walk around. So I have already done that video. Maybe someday I'll do one on the main channel as well. So good evening, welcome, welcome, to another video. Do you decide how many welcomes each time, or is it spontaneous? That is 100% spontaneous. It's whatever kind of feels right at the time, I guess. But it's funny that you mentioned things in 3, because I do find the combination of like 3 very tingly myself. When I watch ASMR videos and you'll see like the person do something like this like 3 times, it's like your brain can anticipate that last one, and I just love it. I don't know, so I try to do 3 sometimes, but I do forget, so I'll try to be a little more conscious of it in the future. What are your first memories that feel like ASMR? For example, girls in my class would always play with my hair, draw on the back. My first memories are from teachers reading books. I would love it, and I would always get that tingly feeling in my brain. And this was way before ASMR was like a known mainstream thing. So I never knew what that was, but I loved it. And so like any opportunity I saw to potentially get that tingly feeling, I would always take it. When I was a senior in high school, I had a study hall, and there was this student teacher that just had the softest, loveliest voice, and I was like a straight A student. I didn't need any help whatsoever, but I would always call her over and pretend I didn't know what I was doing in my math homework, so she would have to explain it to me. And so I apologize to whoever that student teacher was. I don't know her name anymore, but I bothered her almost every study hall because I just wanted to hear her talk. She had such a lovely voice, and then she would sometimes like touch the paper, like, you know, she was explaining it to me, and I would always just nod and be like, yes, of course. And I feel bad that I bothered her so much, but that lady had the most amazing voice. I loved it. So those are my kind of earliest memories, mostly from like teachers or someone trying to explain something to me. Okay. And the second one was about pets. And then can we see them in a photo? Over on my Instagram, I do have a picture of one of the cats. Maybe both of the cats. They are white with blue eyes. One of them is deaf and the other one is not. So they're sisters. The shelter I got them from said they were a bonded pair, but they are not. I think they would be fine without each other, but that's okay. We still love them both. What got you into doing ASMR in the first place? That is going to be the fact that I absolutely love it. I've been chasing that tingly feeling my whole life, and I absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And then who are your favorite creators to watch and listen to? So I like Maria, Gentle Whispering. Whispers Red is another one I really love. There's a smaller creator that's very, very small, named Sleeping Lady ASMR. I love her as well. Something about her voice just gets me tingling. It's kind of funny. I don't usually care too much about quality of audio, if that makes sense. And honestly, there can be bloopers and not great stuff in there. And it doesn't matter, as long as there's a few bits that are good. I'm usually not too picky about my ASMR, so. Let's see. Do you like video games? Yes, I love video games. I've been playing video games since as long as I can remember. Currently I am playing one called Fields of Mystria. It's like a farming sim one. It is still in development, so the full game's not out, so that's kind of a bummer. But I'm enjoying that one right now. But I used to be a little more hardcore and playing gravitate more towards the casual, not too much is at stake kind of games these days. So, but every once in a while I'll pull out like a horror game or something like that. Next one is, what is your cat's names? And will they be featured in a video? For one is Snowball and the other is Scotty. I've actually tried to film a video with them, just like the petting, because I've seen other ones where they have their cats out and they're petting them and they were very tingly, but as soon as I get my lights on and things, they will not sit still. So it is very much like, I might try here and there, but I'm not going to hold my breath about it. So, but I may at some point be able to get them to sit still, maybe when they get a little older. So, what is my favorite book and why? I must say I don't know if I have a favorite book anymore. I used to say Alice in Wonderland. I really enjoy kind of the quirkiness of that book, but I don't know. I like a lot of different books. And then I do strangely like to read the books that I've written. I've written 6 books. And the only reason I say that is I'm not trying to say I'm a good author, because I would say I'm not a great author. However, I would have this thing where, you have characters that would make decisions where you're like, oh no, this doesn't make sense at all. And it's my own book, and I read it, I can always change it. If I'll go, I don't like that. I feel like this character wouldn't do that. I can always just fix it, where if it's a book written by somebody else, you can't really do that. So that's probably the only reason I would even say that. But I would not call myself a good author. What's the message you want to leave behind YouTubers 100 years in the future? I would say believe in yourself and don't be afraid to relax. The world wants you going all the time. And I think people need to enjoy the time they have while they're here. It's difficult sometimes to slow down and to feel not guilty about doing it, but you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. That says, hi Morika, what's your favorite cuisine food? Any favorite dishes here and there? Favorite dessert? Goodness gracious, I like so much different food, it's insane. I don't think there's one that I prefer over the others. I'm a big fan of all food. I really like, maybe if I had to pick, I would say some sort of seafood dish. Anything from the ocean, I'm a very big fan of that. And then as far as desserts go, if I was told that I could only have one dessert for the rest of my life, I think I would pick cheesecake. Cheesecake. I absolutely love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Hi Morika, what was your earliest experiment with ASMR? Oops, we already said that one. And then it says, commanding from your tone. Which role plays or narratives have been the most interesting to play? And then if you made it for myself, what would it be? Let's see. I really enjoy the Evil Queen ones. Those are probably some of my favorite ones to play. I like acting. I think it's really fun, but I don't really get to do it in a real sense a lot of times. And I feel like with the Evil Queen ones, I get to act a little bit, which is kind of fun. And then if I had to make an ASMR video for myself, there would be a lot of just slow, gentle touching of objects while somebody explains something. Those are commonly the ones I really like. And then anything with fabric sounds. I love fabric. So kind of just that slow touching, or just kind of those little hand movements. But like I said, I am not terribly picky with my ASMR. I get triggered by lots of different triggers, so I think the only thing that's like an instant turn off for me, I don't like eating sounds. Those are, I can tolerate them, but I don't like videos with eating sounds. And then I also do not enjoy, oh gosh, what was the other one I don't really like? I'm drawing a complete blank. As soon as it happens, I'm like, oh no, I don't like that. But for me, I don't ever really make a point to say, oh, I don't like that or anything, because it's kind of hard as a creator. You try your best, but obviously you can't please everyone. And I always know that these videos are made, with best intentions. You try your best to do a good job, and you just gotta roll with it. So, What kinds of comedy do you enjoy? Any particular comedians, actresses? Witchcraft stuff. Not too much witchcraft stuff. I do love the Morticia ones. Those were fun to play too. And then comedy, I like Tom Segura. He's pretty funny. But anything that is sort of like real life stories, those are my favorite kind of comedy, where you're just like, oh, that's an interesting story, but it's funny. But honestly, I love to laugh, so anything funny is good for me. Can you do an echoed whisper style video? I have not done one of those in a long time. I sort of got away from that. I didn't ever feel like my echoed ones did very well, and they were kind of difficult for me to edit. So maybe someday I'll do another one. Hi, found your channel a few months ago. When I started playing Magic the Gathering. Am I planning on making more Magic the Gathering related videos? I would say potentially. I've done a few over on the Patreon, but I really have not enjoyed the whole expanded universe thing, and that kind of really knocked me out of Magic the Gathering. But I do occasionally still buy some packs and do some pre-release stuff, so maybe someday I'll do another one, so I wouldn't count it out, but maybe not with the regularity that it was before. So, let's see, there's a quiet emotional weight in what you do that goes beyond just relaxation. Do you see your work as a form of expression first, or as an experience for others? I'd say it's a combination of both. Probably more leaning towards an experience for others, because ultimately I'm making these videos for the community, for somebody to relax, to sleep, to experience those tingles. But I also use it as a creative outlet for myself, so it's definitely both. Do you watch ASMR videos yourself? I say yes, I do, and we did answer that one already. What shade of lipstick do you use? I love dark berry shades. I actually have more of a, so sometimes I'll just put like a black on there, but like a really pale, or I should say translucent black, so it ends up being kind of dark. And then there's a very dark red lipstick that I've had for absolute ages, and I couldn't tell you the name to save my soul. Gosh, I couldn't even remember, but it's a very dark red, and I like those dark colors as well, so, happy spring, nice ASMR, thank you so much. What's your favorite period in history? Oh, I don't do too much with history. I like maybe ancient Egyptian, maybe like ancient times. I find those very interesting. you know, just as they sort of discover new stuff, and that's always kind of fun. I don't know if I want to answer any religion or philosophy, but I do love cooking and baking. That is absolute. I like cooking all kinds of things, and I like cooking from scratch. I make a lot of breads and cookies and cakes, but I also do main dishes, probably more American style than anything, but I like discovering new foods because I love them so much. What's your favorite activities you attend? I do not attend gaming conventions. I've never been to one. It was one of the things I've always liked to do, would love to do, but it was never, for me to go to a gaming convention, it would be a pretty big trip. Like, it's nowhere, they're never anywhere near where I live, so I just could never swing the money and the time to do that, so, but it was one of those things I always would have liked to do. Do you have a regular tabletop role-playing group? Yes, I do. We do play D&D. Currently I'm playing a half-orc named Narkatra, and she's not very smart, and I like her a lot, so, yeah, so that's fun. I have not DM'd yet, but I really would love to. I have a sort of a campaign kind of outlined that if I ever do DM, I would like to use. Who's my favorite villain? I don't know if I have a favorite villain. Maybe like Loki. He's like a sort of villain, and that's probably the ones I like the sort of villains where like they're kind of villains, but they're also sort of good guys, like a little gray, I guess. What triggers personally find most relaxing? We've already did that one as well. How do you settle on the voice you use? The voice for me is, you know, my normal voice is probably a little higher. This one I settled on because it's like my phone voice. So I took my phone voice and I just sort of lowered it very slightly and smoothed it out. And that's what I decided was going to be my ASMR voice, because that's the kind of voice I like to do, but I actually really like to do voices. So I have a few different ones that I like to do. Some of those other ones wouldn't be good for ASMR, but I like to do like singing and voices and like impressions and things. So, what's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? I don't think I've ever lost anything in a coin toss before. I mean, maybe that's a lie, I'm not 100% sure, but nothing comes to mind. If you could bring someone back from history to the present day, who would it be and what would you do with them? Oh my goodness. Who would I bring back to the present day? To the present day. I'm not like super into history, if I'm honest. Like I like it, but I don't. I would probably be somebody from like an ancient time, and I would just want to like take them to the places that are like historical and be like, what was this like back in your day? I don't know if it would need to be a specific person, just like somebody that like lived in that era. That would be fun. What's your favorite cryptid? Oh, I love cryptids. I think my favorite cryptid would probably be maybe Loch Ness. I really like water creatures, so like Loch Ness, the Kraken, which is sort of disproven by now, but those kinds of creatures are always fun. I have an affinity for water, so like those are really fun. But I like all kinds of cryptids, if I'm honest. I like to listen to the Y-Files, where they have like conspiracy theories, and like, although he doesn't like cryptids, but I like cryptids. But sort of like mystery stuff like that, and I think that's a fun little show to listen to. And I don't know, I went to some haunted conventions where I'm at, and they talked about kind of local, cryptids and things. I'm not 100% sure if I believe in them, but I sort of like to keep an open mind, if that makes sense. So, what are your top fascinations? Fascinations. I'm kind of one of those people that when I see something and it sparks a question in my mind, I'll go on a little rabbit hole and I'll discover everything there is to know about that one thing. So my current fascinations, like I said, I have a lot of like animals, and I do a lot of. I just recently got some shrimp, and I'm kind of going down the rabbit hole of maintenance, taking care of them, breeding those. But other than that, it's really whatever kind of catches my fancy at that current moment. What's your favorite ASMR video? Theme to make, like reading, positive affirmations, holidays. I guess I probably like the guided meditations, and then some of the more fun role plays. Those are probably my favorites. If you're an animal, what animal would you be and why? I would be a crow. I think it would be very fun to fly around, and I love crows. They're very intelligent. Any tips for Magic the Gathering beginners? Don't give up. It's honestly a really fun game. I was not a very good player. I'm still not, but I still found it fun. So find a good strategy and stick to it, and you'll still have fun even if you don't win every single game. I thought I'd question to ask when raise the possibility, but now I can't remember. Perhaps it will come to me in time. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. What's your favorite smells? I like anything with vanilla. Vanilla is one of my favorite scents. I love it so much. Think you've mentioned this before. What job you had? We talked about that one. Talked about my favorite ASMRists. Do I cosplay? I do not cosplay. Probably only the few characters on this channel, like Mortician stuff, but that's about it. I did a Wednesday one as well. I should probably cosplay as Amy Lee one of these days. How do you become... Oh, so wonderful. That's very kind of you. I'm just a normal person, but I really enjoy helping others. Have you ever thought about a collaboration? I have done collaborations in the past. When I had a little more time. They're actually a little hard to get together sometimes, so I've got to think about doing some more of those because they were really fun when I did them. I don't know if I want to talk about religion, so I'll probably pass that one. When did you first experience ASMR? We talked about that one. What do I do for a living? We did that one too. Do I believe in ghosts? Kind of like with the cryptids. It's sort of hit or miss. Like, I'm very open to it, but I have not experienced anything personally. So it's one of those things that I love the stories. I love hearing about it, but I'm still kind of open with a little bit of skepticism. And that's it, guys. That's everything. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Even if you only come back every once in a while, I really appreciate it. It's amazing to see how far the channel has gotten, and I appreciate every one of you. I read every one of your comments, even if I don't respond. It's difficult for me time-wise to do that, but I appreciate everyone, and I hope to be around for many more years and hopefully doing a little more experimenting.